I want to welcome you back to Black Side Tonight. We're going to talk about Niger Coup kicking France finally out of their country. First, I would like for you to subscribe to this channel, hit that like button, hit that notification button, but also comment on this video. The country of Niger has had a military coup in which they are basically saying they have had enough of the West stealing their resources, especially France, who has their claws into 14 African countries. Niger is the newest country to have a coup. Burkina Faso and Malawi had a coup too. They are all saying the Western powers are stealing their resources and they're giving nothing back. Macron in France is one of the biggest thieves in world history. They have stolen resources out of Africa for over 100 years. Right now, the biggest resources they're taking out of Africa is uranium, in which they needed to fuel for power in 30% of their country. But in Niger, they only receive 5% of the profits. France uses these countries to stabilize their wealth in France. The company Algerian is the company that have been taking these resources out of Niger for decades. But the people in that country live in extreme poverty. And this is why the Italian Prime Minister basically went off on Macron, talking about this is why so many of them flee to Europe, because France is stealing the resources from a multitude of countries in Africa. We all know EWOX is an organization of African countries that basically are together in a community. Now the Nigerian president, who didn't get any support from the Nigerian Senate to use force against Niger, they said they wanted nothing to do with it but negotiations. But France and the United States, under the wicked Victoria Nuland, the one who overthrew the country, the president in Ukraine. This is why today we have a war in Ukraine, because the Obama administration overthrew the duly elected president in Ukraine. But what they want to do in Niger is to make Niger heel to Western power, because all these countries went to Russia for a huge meeting with Vladimir Putin, in which he forgave $28 billion in loans. And we had one of the great speeches by the Burkina Faso young president, who's 35 years old, who basically said Africa has all the resources they want. All we have to do is use them. Don't let anybody take advantage of us. And this is why the Niger coup is so big, because 78% of the people support this coup. They are tired of Macron and France digging in their pockets, and once they're done, there is nothing left. See, Macron in France is eating at the big table, while the country that has all the resources, the uranium they need for fuel in their country, in their power plants, is being taken out the country. But also, one of the biggest reasons that this may go to war is because they are building a pipeline through Niger, which is going to send fuel to Europe. Now, you know the United States blew up the pipeline from Russia. Y'all remember that. in which fuel will be short going to Germany, who needs it in the wintertime. So the coup in Nigeria has shut all that down, and they have also said they wanted no foreigners in their airspace. So this whole fight in Africa may spill out into a war, for the simple fact that France was the one that instigated the war in Libya. This is why Libya, the most powerful economic African country at the time, if you go to Libya right now, you have nothing but civil war going on. Libya had everything, but the French destroyed it because Libya wanted to make their own African currency. So they decided to assassinate Muammar Gaddafi. See, Africa is nothing but the breadbasket for Europe. And when these countries and these leaders stand up finally for the people of their countries, those who are living in extreme poverty, this is when we see the Western powers want to use their strength or use their diplomatic strength to convince people like the Nigerian president, Ume, to go in with Ewoks and reinstate the former government. But the people will not stand for it. The people in Niger want some money for the resources that have been stolen for their country for almost more than a century. This is what colonialism looks like in modern day America. We control the resources in Europe, but you live in poverty. We take from your country, but give nothing back. And they're tired of it. And now that Africa is turning more to Russia and China, you see that the United States and the Western powers are getting scared. They see Africa slipping away from them. And the only way they feel they can get it back to where it should be is possibly to use military force in Africa. But I don't think the Nigerian people will stand for it. I don't think the people in Burkina Faso will stand for it. I don't think the people in Mali will stand for it. They have already said that they will come to the defense of Niger if they are attacked by a Western country or by Ewoks headed by Nigerian President Zuma. It's time that Africa unleash itself and release and kick out these European powers who do nothing for the African people but have them work for slave wages, and they take all the money out of the country. It's time, and I'm glad that Africa is finally standing up. I want to thank you for listening to Black Site. I hope you subscribe to this channel. Smash that like button, but also share this video, and I would love to hear your comment from the continent of Africa or anywhere.